submissions, you're just back in neutral. And if you work on grappling from feet to floor, you should be able to get the situation back to where you want without any threat or without any anxiety about, hey, I lost everything. I'm just going to stand back up, or I'll sit back into butterfly guard if I'm a guard player and just start over. It's not going to be the end of the world. I'm not having my legs attacked because I held the guard as long as I could. Okay, let's take a gander at clearing the head. So we've taken a lot of looks at how to achieve a very specific goal, which is to have an arm around my waist, whether I put it there with some good pummeling or whether he put it there because I got out ahead of him and he had to recover. Now we'll just look at if we are going to lock up the guard from any one of these different scenarios that we're going to take a look at. How can we clear his head? Because that's going to become important if I want to have a frame. If I have the beginnings of this guard locked up, I got my angle. So first of all, we'll start with you have an angle, and the leg is coming up. Okay, and I'll explain exactly where everything does briefly, but the leg is coming up. Well, his head is going to be a problem. Move this way a little bit. His head's going to be a big problem that we're going to have to deal with, and the flatter I am, the more problematic head position is going to be. So on given methods, so if we use head control and I pummel and I wrap up the beginning of the Williams guard, one way to clear his head in this scenario is to flare the elbow high, bring the head down to the floor. One mistake that I commonly see in my students or guys that I try to teach is they're trying to push the head away. Now, that's not a bad technique, but what I would love to do is do something a bit easier, and it's shove his head down and give him nowhere but out to bring his head back. If his head, he can feel where there's no resistance. And when Kyle feels where there's no resistance, yeah, he brings his head out and we lock in our frame. That's a great way to clear his head. So I have this type of grip. I have a collar tie on him. I've got my arm wrapped up. If we have a collar tie, then I'll flare my elbow, shove the head into the gap, and then when he feels where he needs to bring that, then we're able to turn our hand over and lock up our Williams guard. And that way I've got rid of his head without trying to push somebody's head away. If you push the head away, naturally he's going to push the head back. That's natural for us as human beings. If I shove him away, most of the time he's naturally and instinctively going to push back. Okay, and that's the way a lot of our moves work. So if I'm trying to shove his head away and I'm not in a position of strength and he fights me back, what might end up happening is he wins that battle. If I shove his head down and give him a place for his head to go, he'll take that. He'll take the path of least resistance most likely, and now I've got him locked out. So one way is to put the head down and then give him a place for the head to go. A second very good method is to use your elbow, and you're going to need to use your elbow if you use this every day on a daily basis. When are you going to need to use your elbow is generally when we're flatter on our back. I've won the battle of the inside and I've got my hand under my leg, but his head is directly up the middle. Now is a good idea to use the tricep, slide the elbow into position, and now gain your frame. So from another angle here, we're a little more flat on our back, probably because I used the shin method. And I've locked up the guard and I need to clear his head. So an idea is to use tricep. I bring the tricep out and then you slide your elbow down the neck. Not on your training partner, it's gonna be the nicest method. But when you're training, you don't feel things like this, only during drilling usually. So we carve our elbow down, we connect our frame, and then if your right foot is on the hip, get it off the hip, because that will let you move your hips using this stiff-legged method on the back, and it'll let me move into my guard. You will need to use your tricep and move your elbow into position a lot to clear his head. A third method that you can use to clear his head is to switch sides. So if I have an angle on Kyle and I'm moving it to this side and he is pressuring me back flat and moving his head into the middle, you can technically just move sides and then use the same method that we had for the collar tie. So from a slightly different angle, I've got my angle, I'm under. Now, I don't have the head locked down. I have my hand on the collar tie. When he begins to move that way, almost always he'll have to post this arm. It is extremely hard this way for him to not post his hand and push when he's on his knees versus this position and I'm on my side. If he doesn't use this hand and he tries to move me to my left, it is very difficult. It won't be difficult at all when he posts his hand. He'll be able to move me pretty quickly. Yep, there it is. So what we'll do is we'll be in this scenario when he moves me with the post of the hand. We'll switch sides, and then we can take advantage of his movement going one way. We'll keep him moving that way with our momentum, and we'll just switch sides. So we'll move our hips out the other side and lock up.